Thank you for joining us for Public Safety Echo. The Public Safety Echo project is the world's first of its kind effort to use the Echo model to address safety issues by bringing residents, workers, and businesses together in an online social and professional space to share skills, increase knowledge, and solve problems. In weekly sessions, Public Safety Echo teaches skills, educates partners in different aspects of a healthy community, and empowers community members.
Hey, welcome, good afternoon on this lovely day to the Downtown Public Safety Echo. I, of course, am your coordinator, Daryl Deloach, just saying hello, and I was wondering how people are feeling about the weather and stuff. You know, it's a little early spring that we've been dealing with, but you can't complain, so... Let's please turn on your cameras. The Echo is all about all teach, all learn, and we hope that you plan on participating fully. We'll forego having everyone introduce themselves, just looking for new faces. I see a lot of there's Marlene, hey! Okay, yeah, Marlene from Heading Home. We've been trying to get her to join us, and she's been able to hop on today. You want to say hello, Marlene?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Marlene Cabrera. I'm the program director for ABQ Street Connect, the program within the organization Heading Home. Hi.
Hi, okay. Thank you for joining us. Yes, Heading Home works with APD's downtown unit and ACS and street medicine to really help and sort of coordinate our efforts with a lot of the unhoused population downtown and trying to get them housing and medications and treatment. So it's great to have her on today just to say hello. But I see, I guess I'll call everybody else the usual suspects. Is that okay? I mean, I'm not accusing anybody of perpetrating any crimes or anything, but just wanted to say hello. Today's presentation will be about peer support from the New Mexico, getting tongue-tied, New Mexico Community for Peer Education Project and their project coordinator, Simone Campbell.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Daryl. I'm so excited to be here.
Of course. And as it turns out, your old hat here, you're pretty comfortable here at the studio, I find out.
Yeah. I actually, this is my day job, but once a month I come in here and we record a talk show inviting on different creative people, different performers from around the city.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got to sample that. Sounds interesting. Again, I've also had a relationship with the public access station over the years, and I really think it's a great resource for people to use, especially these days when we're in the world of content creation. So I appreciate that you're making that effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it.
Cool. Well, we'll move to some announcements. I don't have any specific announcements about downtown. Unless, Janet, do you have anything to share? Putting you on the spot there. I mean, yeah, the growers market has started, so it was packed last Saturday. Really just all the good stuff that's down there on Saturday mornings. And the rail yard market will start in May, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. And the only other announcement that I had actually pertained to the University Area Command, where this Saturday, the 11th, they will have, let me see here if my thing's not working. Oh, that's why. No, that's not it either. Anyway, this Saturday from 8 to 12 at the University Area Command, they will be having their gun buyback. It's the annual gun buyback. They offer money for firearms that you don't use or need, and I would recommend, if you want to do that, show up early because they run out of money and there's a line around the corner. Anything announcement-wise, Laura, that you want to add or share?
No, that was all I had too, Daryl. So
I took your thunder announcing the gun buyback. But yeah, it's like 250 for automatic weapons. I think a little less for rifles and a little less for handguns. But yeah, you can show up there tomorrow, and there's sorry, not tomorrow, Saturday morning, and it'll be at the University Area Command at 1009 Bradbury. I was going to say Bradford. I don't know who that is. Bradbury, as in Ray Bradbury, right? Other than that, anyone else on the call have anything they want to share with us announcement-wise? Rodney? No?
Got nothing for you today.
Okay, good, good. Well, we will just move right along. Again, I'm looking for case submissions too. Eventually, I'll have some officers here participating with us. So I would love to hear some case ideas coming from the audience. But other than that, when it comes to helping people, and I mean really helping people through addiction or substance abuse, reintegration after incarceration, getting off the street, a lot of organizations offer help, caseworkers and clinicians. But what has had the best track record of success, it seems, has been peer support in its different forms, when others with lived experience can show the way, and that's what peer support seems to do best. So that's sort of why I was intrigued to have Simone here talk about how she sort of helps share that philosophy across many platforms. So let me get the PowerPoint ready, but go ahead, tell us more about how you got involved with peer support.
Definitely, yeah. So I began work with Project Echo in, let's see, it must have been about a year and a half ago, and I started as program coordinator with the CPEP team. That's the Community Peer Education Project.
Wait,
and
that's not the CPAP mat.
not the CPAP machine,
Oh, okay.
the CPEP team.
Oh, PEP,
CPEP,
okay,
yes.
sorry, PEP
Yeah.
team.
Yes, Community Peer Education Project.
Okay.
And I just fell in love with the team. I fell in love with the work. My background is in mental health. I got my undergrad in psychology, and I worked at a crisis hotline with UNM for most of my undergrad, and it really opened my eyes to all of the different levels of the human experience, and especially being a young person, I was just captivated by the power of empathy and supporting people just by listening and meeting others where they're at.
And how long did you work for the crisis line?
I worked with Agora for about 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I loved that, and it just really opened my heart to the work. And then a friend of mine works at Project Echo, and she encouraged me to apply, and that was a position that was open, and it instantly piqued my interest, aligned with a lot of my own values and a lot of ways that I wanted to develop, not only professionally but personally. And just diving into the work was fantastic. I think peers are some of the most down-to-earth, genuine, passionate people I've ever met, and I'm so grateful to be working alongside them.
Yeah, well, and again, I know Marlene's on here, but just through my experience across sort of some of these different modalities that I get exposed to, it's just amazing to see how that lived experience in really helping someone, see. I can't imagine how we talk about the obstacles for people to get off the street or to change some of these behaviors, and it's really just been eye-opening for me to sort of, when you talk about that empathy, it really sort of lands best when it comes from someone who sort of has shared that experience that you have. So let's get right into the presentation then. Let me see here. All right. I got it going here. Hopefully this will work. Go ahead.
Awesome, yeah. So presentation is called Maximizing Behavioral Health Resources for Peers in New Mexico. And this is going to be kind of a three-pronged approach. We're going to be looking at the origin of ECHO, kind of the origin of peer education and how that started with ECHO. And we have our prison project that works in the facilities.
Yeah.
We have the CPEP projects that works with people just returning from incarceration. And then we have our new expansion, behavioral health expansion specifically, which is primarily what I'm seeing as now the program specialist, which is really exciting. And looking at the future of peer support, especially.
And that was the ECHO that I was on yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And it was just quite a group of practitioners and certified peer support people. So.
Yeah, extensive. And yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later. So yeah, these are going to be our objectives for the day. We're going to give overviews of our peer-led programs, discuss our peer-based behavioral health initiatives, which I just mentioned, and explore the future of peer leadership support, because we want to make sure that we're not only empowering our peers to improve quality of care for participants in various different realms, but also to make sure that we're elevating peer voices, into positions of leadership. And there's a lot of talk of, peer supporters, peer support workers, community health workers being paraprofessionals.
Right.
And that kind of has a stigma along with it, because they're just professionals and they're doing such important work. So
yeah, well, and again, I sort of feel with a lot of the things that peer support works best with, those organizations tend to be administratively heavy and these other things. And again, I just feel that the most progress and success comes from, ACS, values that contribution with their staff. And it's just one of those things I feel has the best results when it actually comes to getting, getting these changes.
100%. And we see a lot of studies that reflect that too.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. That I would, not just my opinion. It's,
but
it's
you're right,
factual.
Daryl.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yes.
It's actually factual that peer support
Absolutely.
works.
Yes. So before we dive in, I thought it would be good just to clarify what I mean when I say a peer.
Okay.
And so you highlighted, I think it's mainly like a triangle, like the peer support triangle. And so individuals who have experienced challenges with mental health, any kind of substance use, and incarceration.
Yeah.
And so like you said, that it's the value of using your lived experience to better connect with people. It also, it puts a little bit more oomph behind your words. It increases efficacy, of course. But yeah, that empathy creates a sense of rapport and trust.
Well, and even, Laura will even within the police department, the peer support is a very valuable thing for them because of, the stress and strains of, all the first responders really. Yeah. For them, it really takes sometimes someone else who's walked in those shoes for them to communicate with when it comes to these difficult topics to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a multi-pronged approach.
You shared something there. Go ahead, you can.
Awesome. All right.
Next slide. Sorry.
Yes, next slide.
Sorry, I was trying to do a couple things here at once.
No worries. You're in the driver's seat. Got a lot going on. So and there will be multiple points on this line. So I'll just say click.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Okay, yeah. So first, we're just going to go over ECHO's origin story. I think that this kind of gives a little bit of good background for how we came to be and how we use the ECHO model in the work we do. So click. This started, of course, in 2004. Dr. Sanjeev Arora had a vision to increase quality of care, especially for those individuals in rural communities. Being a specialist in HCV, hepatitis C.
treatment.
Yeah.
Yep.
He had a client who unfortunately passed away because she couldn't access care in her community, and so he pursued this foundational approach with 4 core ECHO principles, and I'm going to look behind me because that's too far away. Yeah. So amplification, best practices, case-based learning, and making sure everything was data-driven. And so that amplification, doing like what we're doing right now, leveraging technology to increase access. Best practices, this is kind of the heart of it, sharing, collaborating on shared challenges, sharing, democratizing knowledge, to make sure that knowledge is widespread and it's not gatekept for professionals, using case-based learning in real time, so then that problem solving can happen while the team of experts is together, and of course making sure that we have the data to back up that this is an effective way of doing things.
Yeah, and again, I get to see some of the ECHO conventions that occur here, and I'm always so impressed how the those principles have spread worldwide, and you find people from Africa and Asia and all over Europe who are using these echo principles to really share information in this new way. So I mean, it's definitely something in this new age that we learn to deal with technology. It's one of the ways we use technology to work for us.
Yes, well, we're using it as a tool, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which, if you go to the next one, exactly what we were talking about, it's based in this all teach, all learn model, that there are specialists in their field who teach other professionals, other clinicians, because this did start as a health initiative, as you know, and then spoiler alert, it did expand beyond that.
Right.
But yeah, to try to create a collaborative learning environment.
Right.
And click. And like you just said, this is expanded into so many different subspecialties, not only over 60 specialties in the medical field, but into civics, justice, education, and across New Mexico, across the U.S., and around the world.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll keep evolving and expanding, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's our reach apparently right now. Almost 9 million Echo session attendances, which is just an astonishing number.
Wow.
Almost 9,000 programs, over 200 countries, and lots of areas who are equipped to be able to put on these Echo sessions as well.
Fabulous.
So, huge. So that introduces, the idea of how can we translate this model into areas just beyond the clinics, and specifically, people transitioning, transitioning from incarceration, people in recovery, and also individuals within prison facilities.
Yeah.
And so, how we started. Next slide.
Okay.
There was overwhelming need that we found in the correction facilities for some kind of intervention for HCV treatment.
Also for hepatitis.
For hepatitis C, yes. And so we found there were 11 prison facilities, average population of 7,000 individuals, and over half were testing positive. The anti-HCV means they're positive for antibodies, that they might not be exhibiting traits of hepatitis C, but that they had been exposed to it at some point in time. And that number is just absolutely astronomical. And that's just being positive upon entry, not even considering the numbers of people who are probably positive upon release.
Oh, that's 52% upon entry?
Yes.
Wow. And my perception was that this is something that occurred while they were incarcerated. No.
Yeah, so starting out, pretty poorly. So go ahead to the next slide. And that invited a collaboration with the New Mexico Corrections Department. And Dr. Carla Thornton, who is now our clinical director of ECHO, since Sanjeev stepped down, she, in 2009, I want to say, she started the initiative, which is now known as the New Mexico Peer Education Project. And we have been strengthening this collaboration ever since, essentially equipping medical professionals not only to test for, but to start treating hepatitis C in prison facilities.
Okay.
But also beyond that, to encourage peer education and that all teach, all learn model.
The next one. And so this is teaching the incarcerated individuals also to sort of share their experience?
Yes, and that's what we're going to dive in now.
Okay.
And so this is the program that was the core of our origin story. This saying, prison health is community health, kind of being at the core, and making sure that it's not, it extends beyond just, hepatitis C treatment and education, but also into a variety of other disciplines and education. And we are currently involved in every prison facility in New Mexico, which is so exciting. I don't know the exact number of peer educators that we currently have, but we have peer educators in every facility, which is huge.
Do these programs come from suggestions from the prisoner? Like, where do you get the topics for these echoes? I imagine there's all kinds of array of topics.
Definitely. So go to the next slide.
The next slide.
You're ready. I got you, Daryl.
Okay, that's why you brought the presentation.
Oh, it's all good. These are our training topics. And the page that you saw previously, the illustration that you saw was our manual. And so over time, Dr. Carla Thornton, Daniel Rowan, Chris Carissa Holloway, a variety of other individuals, Saul Hernandez, they built up this curriculum and overseeing training on the education and not only for these individuals who we train as peer educators on these topics, but to equip them with the resources to be able to give trainings on these topics in the facilities.
And this was already sort of being massaged through the ECHO programs because of the hepatitis treatment that was already going on. This education had been refined to a point that you guys were ready to share it. Wow.
Yeah, that was where we kind of got our foot in. And so what this looks like, we do 40-hour training, this training the trainer kind of format, and we do this every so often. Maybe every couple of years we'll go through and do a new 40-hour training in a specific facility. But this is like from the ground up. These individuals, these inmates are handpicked, from the wardens and approved by ACOs, and they're like the leaders of these communities. And so throughout 40 hours and Socratic-based curriculum, we teach them on these topics, and we also teach them how to teach them.
How to teach, yeah.
Exactly. And so, not only are they learning like such important information, harm reduction and, illness awareness, even something just as simple as like how to wash hands, how to maintain hygiene in a prison facility, but also giving them valuable information, on like skill building and confidence building and public speaking and things like that. Because a lot of these individuals have never had anyone give them the time of day to learn these kinds of skills.
Yeah, no, I mean, and again, to share information, you sort of you have to have those. I often point out that technology has just robbed a generation of general communication skills.
Absolutely.
And until you use them, you don't realize how effective they are just in sharing information daily. So I imagine, it's very important for them to try to keep those skills for survival.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Survival and thriving too, because that's a huge part of our program, is we wanted to encourage a sense of purpose because we have a lot of peer educators, especially those who are in higher level facilities, who are going to be in prison for life. And so, having something like this, encouraging a sense of purpose. We also have individuals, peer educators, who come to us with ideas, like we want to train on this topic, we've created a manual, this is something we're passionate about, and just seeing that, not only to be able to, invest in them and their success, but also to see them invest in others regardless of their own outcome,
There's a reward in that, no matter
huge.
who you are, and definitely that's, those are those things that just, that purpose or that, getting up every day and having something that you feel you can contribute really makes things a little bit easier.
Absolutely, I would agree. Yeah, next slide. So this is just a photo of one of our graduation ceremonies for our peer educators. This is one of our teams. I'm not exactly sure what facility this is, but this is an important thing to point out. All of the educational materials that they have, obviously none of them, are based in technology because they don't have access to that. And so all of them are hand-drawn. They have like a classroom with all of their educational posters where they have these trainings. And also this is a paid position, within the prisons as well, which is huge. And so, there's so much like artistic talent too, so so much creativity.
They end up creating their own manual from the instruction.
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
Wow,
yeah,
nice.
Beyond that. Yep. And so, that is more about our origin, like the kind of the core of peer education. Should I pause for questions or should we hold to the end?
Well, we can take any questions or just see if anyone has any questions and check we had some questions about the audio, but I believe the audio is okay.
Resolved, you can hear me okay?
But I don't see any hands.
Yeah, it was just one person's audio on their computer.
Okay. All right, I don't see it. Oh, no, we do have a hand. Janet.
Hi, Janet.
I just wanted to clarify, the people who are being trained, are they employees of this facility or are they the inmates?
They're the inmates at the facilities.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. All right, we will move on to the next chapter.
Awesome. This is kind of getting into my team and, what happens after release. And so, next slide.
Oops, sorry. Okay.
Oh, you're fine. I believe it was in 2013. I could be wrong.
Whoa, hey, you got some graphics
Oh, I
there.
know, right?
Fancy
Right,
with
a
your,
little bird.
I wasn't expecting that.
You're welcome. So Carissa Holloway founded this program, and the Community in Mexico Community Peer Education Project. That is a mouthful sometimes. Yeah. It's not just you. And so essentially, this is a peer-led transitional support program, and I think it is one of the only positions where you actually required to be a felon to have gone to prison in order to be employed as a community peer educator.
Wow.
And so often, we kind of joke about that. But because that lived experience is so important, and it is the core part of our program. And so we have our ECHO team, the leadership team that essentially helps our CPEs and sets them up for success. But our CPEs, community peer educators, that's their official title.
There's some certification involved in that.
Yeah. So it's a designation that we give through ECHO. It's not something they have to go out and take a test for.
Right.
It's their title, but we'll see on the next slide a little bit more about what that looks like. And so, these are our current community peer educators, and these are the ones, the boots on the ground, who they all have care groups of individuals who are currently on probation and parole, probation and/or parole. And they can have anywhere from 5 to 45 individuals on their care team. Oh, wow. And they are essentially resource navigators and equipping individuals, or not equipping, but offering resources, connecting participants to resources, as well as providing that peer support. And so there are a variety of participants that our peer educators work with who are they have housing, they have security, but they need someone to, keep them on top of their recovery, or just someone to talk about, shared challenges, someone who understands.
Well, and again, that's, I go back to just what we've experienced downtown and just how many contacts it takes with an individual, even, providing housing or providing treatment. You need the either the caseworker or someone to sort of help guide you. But I imagine, again, someone who's been through that experience is probably a hand that you would hold a little, more easily, feeling comfortable that, they know how it feels or how difficult it is. And we see it all the time. Those individuals have difficulty and end up back in, a situation that's not preferable. So, I imagine your peer educators have quite the workload in front of them.
Oh, they absolutely do. But they shout out to them. But they really are the heart and soul of our program, and they are the ones who make it possible. And we have, as you can see from the different locations, we try to have a pretty good spread of CPs across the state. Obviously, there are certain rural areas that are challenging, especially through Region 4, kind of in the southeast corner of the state. Some challenges there. We also have our senior community peer educators. Those are the ones with the stars next to their names. And those are the ones who are overseeing our CPEs. They work a lot behind the scenes as well. Oftentimes are communicating with officers directly. Something that is really exciting that I'm going to go ahead and announce. So Michelle Richardson, one of our senior community peers, she has an office at the in-person, the Gara building for probation and parole downtown.
Oh, okay.
And so she is the first formerly incarcerated person to ever have an office in the probation and parole office. Which is huge, and she's there taking referrals directly as people are coming.
There you go again. That was going to be my next question. How do people get guided to your program? I mean, I imagine, sure, if they got exposed while they were in prison, but I imagine there's probably some that come out that would need that support.
Yeah, absolutely. So we used to table, we still table in, we had our Las Cruces and our Farmington locations, but right now, given that Michelle is there in person, no need really for that. But the referral process is incredibly simple, and essentially just if an individual is on supervision, that's the only stipulation. It doesn't matter, the nature of their offense or, how long they're going to be or have been on supervision. Just as long as they are on probation and or parole, they can just ask their PO, and their PO can send us a referral directly with our program. Yep. So that's awesome. Next slide. So this is looking a little bit more at, what a CPE really is. Of course, all of these individuals, are approved and vetted by PPD. And we have some individuals on our team who were trained peer educators in the facilities. Actually, one of our leadership team members, she's a program specialist as well. She started out as a peer educator, and then when she was released, became a CPE and then a senior CPE, and now is full-time staff with UNM, which is awesome. But yeah, not required, definitely preferred. 2 years demonstrated recovery, high school diploma or GED, of course an extensive knowledge of resources in the area, which is part of the training that we offer. We have a huge database, because again, we won't find someone housing, but we will help someone find themselves housing. And so, yeah, which is part of that empowerment that we're trying, to focus on. And also, as you mentioned before, with specific certifications, so CPE in and of itself isn't like a state recognized or organization recognized title, but a lot of our CPEs hold CPSWs, a certified peer support worker, which is issued through the Healthcare Authority, OPRI, the Office of Peer Recovery and Engagement, LSAA or LADAX, those focuses in addiction and alcohol addiction specifically. So a lot of individuals are pursuing higher education while they're in our program, and that's a core part of what we want our program to be. Is what I mentioned earlier, not only helping participants and helping the peers help them in the best way that they can, but also we want to be like a launching pad, for like moving on to leadership opportunities, and other incredible organizations in our community.
Well, and again, I feel like I keep returning or harping on this, but that satisfaction and again, when you're someone, the CPE, working on this and get to see your efforts help these other people, the reward you get, I too would sort of want to keep going down that road and seeing what I could accomplish with those skills. And definitely, like I said, in this state, I often say it's not the politicians or the money that solve problems, it's people. And the more of these CPEs we can get out there to help solve some of these problems, the better.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And too, even just looking on a personal level, like so many of these individuals, they've lived quite the lives, you know? And so the core part of peer education is, using your experiences on your worst day to help elevate someone else to their best day. And, that idea that, no one is defined solely by their actions, and it's like what you do next that matters most. And so instilling not only that sense of hope, but also that sense of like self-confidence and like self-trust, and to be able to trust that like what you have just by nature of your own experience elevates and strengthens your voice, and what you have to say.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a very simple thing, and again, I blame technology that we're not learning it the way we used to, but something as simple as that relationship between parents is where a lot of that, I feel, is breaking down because of devices and technology and all that. So I feel it's a skill that is disappearing.
Absolutely.
And without these programs, people don't have exposure to it.
Yep, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Go.
Speaking of interaction, is all the peer support done in person or remotely?
It's all done remotely. Yeah, because we have our CPs are located all the way across the state, and part of that ECHO model is making sure that we're increasing access to resources regardless of how present people can be in person. And so a lot of the communication is done either via text or via email, mostly via phone. So that's how our community peer educators are communicating with their participants.
And do you find that actually is good enough without having to be in person?
Yeah. I mean, there's always the challenge. I think the most challenging part is when we have new individuals, who are in the intake process, who've just gotten referred. Sometimes just making that initial contact is the hardest part, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. But once, essentially it's just finding their why and okay, why does recovery matter to you? Why does success matter to you? And also seeing that there's somebody here who is ready to help and ready to offer their time freely. As soon as participants feel like someone really believes in them and their success, then they're invested.
So what is that first contact like? Are you going to get into that.
Yeah, I can get into it now. I don't have a slide on it, but yeah, for sure.
Well, and that even, one of the things, we're in this environment doing echo and it's cameras and stuff, but I also sort of feel, there is some anonymity or some exclusiveness, at least if it's one-on-one through, through Zoom, through Echo, that, you can still share that conversation in a way that there's a connection there, and I obviously use it a lot, and I sometimes feel technology can be a barrier, but again, to make that connection across some of these difficult things, that's really the only time or the only way that you can do it. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that it actually works that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And just to answer your question as well, we have we have our intake process, and so what that looks like, an individual expresses interest in the program, the officer will submit a referral through our online system. Our program specialist, who currently is Darcy Morrison, she'll process that, make an assignment to a community peer educator, typically one who's in a surrounding area, somewhere close to the participant, and then they'll make first contact, which is just initially a phone call. We have a system for when people aren't responding, but if people don't respond, and we'll close them out. If they reach out later again, there's no limit to the number of times you can attempt to access resources. We're here if you're willing. And we're patient. And so, but then from there, an assessment of need is taken, and there'll be an active status if they're actively referring or having resources referred to them, or they'll be in peer support if maybe they don't need resources, but they just need that connection.
Right.
And we've had people work with us for months or years.
Wow.
So, yep. And I just wanted to zoom out just a little bit and look more at peer-based roles, because the work that we're doing is so important, and I'm so grateful to be part of it on some level, but also that there are a multitude of peer-based roles in the community.
Yeah.
And so, we just have the peer educator, that's our front, but then there are caregivers, comprehensive support services, peer navigators, housing specialists, recovery specialists, community health workers, and peer youth and family support workers, which is a direction that we're looking to expand kind of into that realm. But yeah, it's a multi-pronged approach that we're happy to just be a cog in the machine, to try to increase quality and access of care in as many places as we can. Absolutely. And so, just looking specifically at peer education, as opposed to community health workers or CPSWs, we primarily, our CPEP team works with justice impacted individuals. And so this is again just kind of an overview of the things that we've gone over, the qualifications, our goals, and especially noting on the reducing recidivism, we've seen a massive decrease in recidivism for those individuals who have completed our program, especially in the facilities. I wish I had that number, but it's a good one, trust me. It's promising. And so, our settings, various places within the transitionary period, whether that's pre-incarceration, CPSWs are also available sometimes in the facilities, which is really exciting, having our peer educators with ECHO work with CPSWs from OPRI, and community-based judicial programs, of course. And these are our primary training topics that we not only train our peer educators, but our community peer educators as well. So, and before we move on, because I think it's gonna transition a little bit soon, talking about our ECHO sessions that we hold. So right now, the New Mexico Peer Education Project, the NMPEP, the in-facility program, that was hard. I lost the word. They do semi-weekly sessions, and so they'll do once every 2 weeks. And they have a health-based session, and they have a reentry-based session. And so they'll be educating on various health topics for one. The case presentations, the peer educators will bring forward, that they're experiencing in their facilities. And then we'll collaborate on the call, and that has, on a good day, every prison facility is zooming in, on this call. And so, we have tons of individuals on this call, and one of if not the only rare situation where inmates from a variety of facilities are interacting in some way.
Yeah.
And so, of course, we're very intentional about maintaining guidelines and safety and
Right.
security, but still it's intended to collaborate on those challenges. And, like, an issue that's happening in one facility will give the space, like someone zooming in from another facility will be like, we had the same thing and this is what we did to figure it out.
Right.
So again, it's those real-time solutions, from people who like understand.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, that must be quite the call.
It's quite the call. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's always really exciting being on there, because especially the reentry presentations, those are given by the community or by the peer educators themselves. So they're developing these presentations, sharing more about like what to look out for in transition, and whether it's like rebuilding familial connections, like self-management, recovery, whatever it is. Again, we've just seen like so much excellence and professionalism and creativity in these presentations from our peer educators, which is awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you don't have that connection, that support, and the recidivism is one of those things. I just feel like New Mexico has always sort of had a difficulty in maintaining that structure for people who have, made those mistakes in the past and trying to get beyond them, and to help someone really move ahead. If you don't have that structure, it's really difficult.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, hugely difficult. So yeah, no, great point. And as well as our CPEP sessions, we have our monthly session, and that's primarily for our CPEs. Sometimes we have a PPD on there as well, and we'll have a community organization or some other subject matter expert come on, present on a resource or on a specific topic to better equip or strengthen our CPE's knowledge of community resources or specialty areas. We also have a program for the probation and parole officers. We do that, it's semi-annually per region, and so they're out of the 4 regions throughout New Mexico. We'll do 2 in the year, once in the spring, once in the fall. And we also do case presentations. We share success stories, especially from individuals, like participants in our program from those specific regions.
Right.
And strengthen our relationship with PPD, because it's so
so
important.
that in those sessions you would actually have your incarcerated individuals who are the peer supporters interacting with some of the actual corrections officers?
So with the PPD ECHO specifically, it is a little bit more strict. So we have our senior community peers, one of the 4, and they're the ones who are going in and sharing the case presentations.
Oh, nice.
Which is great to see that kind of interaction, which again is very
Going
rare.
back to the public speaking and the facilitation.
Yes, exactly. Yep. And then in our monthly CPEP session, it's open to any and all probation and parole officers who want to attend. Rarely do they, but we do have our community corrections officer.
I have the same problem.
I'm sure you do. Yes. Listen, no, but our community engagement liaison with PPD. He always attends those sessions. He's part of our hub team, which is really great. Just employing the ECHO model more.
Yeah. All right. Oh, there's another graphic. What?
Oh, there you go. That's what's unique. Just said it. So this is something I wanted to touch on too. Just like by nature of peer work, there is, we talk a lot about work-life balance, and I think specifically in peer support work, that line is blurred. It's so blurred.
Foggy.
Sometimes feels a little non-existent, but it is important that it exists and that it be more dotted necessarily than lined or double-lined in most areas. And so, we talk a lot about those, the importance of personal boundaries and professional boundaries. And something we say a lot is helping from your scars and not your wounds, and making sure that you're not in a vulnerable place and that you have, taken care of yourself, of course, like your life mask before the other person's life mask. But also a huge part of that is, recognizing like your own personal triggers, things that might feel threatening to you, because not only does that impact, of course, the professional relationship, but it puts you in a vulnerable space.
Well, yeah, there's you can re-traumatize yourself by trying to help someone else.
Yeah.
Just because of the vulnerable place that you may have to go. I mean, I equate it quite, for me, I have a history of doing role play where, you're having to play out a difficult situation, suicide or mental health, and even for actors who do that work, you can sort of, get yourself in an uncomfortable place.
Absolutely.
If you're not taking care of your own, needs, mental, physical needs, and I imagine too, you know, with these individuals, once they start having some success and feeling good, they could sort of run themselves into a wall without realizing it.
Absolutely. Burnout is huge. It is like the #1 threat. And we actually did a poll in our peer collaborative space that I'll talk about in a moment. The #1 threat to peer support workers, and it was burnout.
Is burnout.
And emotional fatigue.
And again, you're just taking on all that emotional content, and after a while, if you don't have the successes, those things will weigh on you.
Absolutely. And that's the importance of recognizing when you need support or when you need a break. And also on the note of like role plays, we had to do that as well when we were working with Agora, you know, and getting into those spaces can be incredibly challenging, meaningful, but still, especially if you have personal experience. Something I remember, I was on a call with an individual, and for us at the hotline, you know, self-disclosure was kept to a minimum. Though a lot of us shared a lot of the experiences our callers had. And I remember I had a woman ask, you know, if I had ever struggled with my mental health. And I paused. I was like in the beginning and I wasn't really sure to answer. I was like, well, I've had friends who have, and it completely derailed the conversation. And she clammed up, and it was about to end. And then I took a moment to like pause and take a breath. I shared briefly about my experience, and it, you know, it brought everything back together. You know, like rapport was instant. Again, the value of peer support, and also kind of like balancing self-disclosure in a way that's still appropriate.
Well, and again, through role play, you know, quite often even officers will use that self-disclosure tactic, or I don't want to call it a tactic, technique, to make that connection. But again, you know, it's always something that you have to be very cautious with in sort of, you know, opening up those ways. But at the same time, it's usually an effective tool to make that connection seem real.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, it's just like vulnerability and authenticity, but not at your own expense. Core of it. Yep, absolutely. And go back one more. Sorry. One more thing that I'll say.
Oh, there you go.
Is just making sure, like professionally as well, like staying within your scope, not crossing any of those professional boundaries, or like having pre-existing relationships. You know, which is easy, especially if you were formerly incarcerated and one of your participants you were, you know, in prison with for 10 plus years. You know, that adds another layer that's unique to like the peer-based role. You know, to like navigate delicately.
It can work for you, but it could also work against you.
Yes, so balance. That's what it's all about. So that brings us to our next chapter. And these next initiatives that I'll be talking about is primarily what I'm overseeing, i.e. one of the sessions, or the session that you attended yesterday. Yes. There's another graphic.
Oh man, that airplane was cool.
I know, right? It was so crisp. It just flew. I wish. So this is kind of what made this funding from this act is what made these next initiatives possible. And this was really exciting. You know, there was obviously there's a massive need to increase behavioral health resources and access across the state, to strengthen that network across the state. And so thankfully, you know, the Behavioral Health Reform and Investment Act passed and made programs like these possible. And we've seen a lot of positive impacts in the state beyond just our program, you know, from this funding. But yeah, it was something we were really excited about.
And were you involved at all in sort of petitioning for SB3 or to lobby for it, any of that?
I wasn't personally, but yeah, we have representatives, you know, in like the legislature who advocated for it, you know, pretty strongly. And so we were really excited to be to have been granted this.
Yeah, well, because I went to the session this last,
awesome.
Just to sort of see how the mechanics work there, and it was quite the daunting experience. I imagine it's quite difficult, you know, lobbying for some of these things and getting them through. So I'm glad that it got through.
Me too. Yeah, it's currently above my pay grade, so I'm thankful to who made that possible. This is the Peer Collaborative Learning Echo Session. I wonder if your face is up there, because I took that screenshot. There he is. Oh, yeah. He's right there. Yep. And no one knew I was taking this picture, but it was for this presentation. This space, it just expands beyond the CPEP program. I'm kind of in this like like this bridge position where I'm
Right.
still working with CPEP. I work occasionally with NMPEP. I've done some of the facility trainings. But this is like taking it one step further beyond ECHO, strengthening our relationship with the healthcare authority, and ultimately with the goal of strengthening the network across behavioral health, like peer-based programs
Right.
in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And so it's a space for shared learning, to receive guidance, to problem solve shared challenges across the network, and increase professional success and personal success. And something that we were really intentional about is we wanted to make it a space for people all across the peer support spectrum. And so we have, individuals who are like in the MAT clinics, medically assisted treatment clinics, who are working directly with clients,
Right.
all the way up to individuals, who are supervising them, individuals from, from the state or from the counties, correctional officers, et cetera, just to learn more about like the nature of the peer role, how best to succeed, to increase the success of these individuals. Because if the structure isn't strong, then peers can't be strong.
Yeah.
So, and it's just intended to be a collaborative, open space. We try to make it as relevant as possible, and so we're constantly adjusting our curriculum based off of emergent needs. And so, we're just really excited.
I was very impressed with the individual Mark up there who had presented and talked about it. I mean, and again, he was very, complimentary and really sort of showed examples of his experience along the way, how it guided him, and how he himself was able to sort of create these opportunities through this work. And I was actually touched by his explanation of that journey. And I see, with this sort of collaborative effort of bringing everyone together, you can, more people are going to have that journey.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, just like increased access is huge.
Yeah.
And Mark Schmallen with Choice Recovery Path, he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He spoke at our summit, which I'll speak on in a moment. And so far we've had topics from the Albuquerque Center for Hope and Recovery. We had Stephen Brooks give a presentation on burnout specifically for peers. This one specifically was on professional success, moving from like those basics of peer support work into mastery and leadership roles.
Yeah.
And we have our next presentation is from an individual with the New Mexico State University Center for Innovation.
Okay.
And they'll be presenting, it's Ben Spencer will be presenting, and we're super excited to have them on. So something else too for individuals who may be interested in continuing education credits, we offer 1 hour, which is exciting. And if you go to the next slide. I figured I would put this in here. If you would like to reach out if you have more questions, I have my email at the end, but this is the email specifically for this program. And if you're just interested, you'd like more information, again, you can attest to the space, how interesting and I think how relevant it is for people across a wide array of professionals or professional areas. But anyone and everybody is welcome.
Yeah, and I just felt it was a great example of just the Project ECHO model in action and working, and I really felt that information sharing from that combined with the peer knowledge was just a great way to just sort of inform people and share those experiences. I was really impressed.
Great, it's great to hear, and that's what we're trying to do. And it's been a great space to be in so far, to be able to facilitate. So, And this was something that we just had now 2 weeks ago, our Peer Leadership Summit. I should say annual beforehand. It was our first annual summit. This was our first year, and this is something that we want to have happen every spring. This is a photo that was taken. Some people are cut off the sides here. But we had over 170 total attendees from over 40 independent entities, again, across a variety of specialties. So community-based organizations, we had government agencies, recovery and treatment centers, universities, clinical providers, people from all walks of life, really.
Yeah, really.
And we got some really solid ratings, which is great. We put out some surveys, and overall the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. And this was kind of taking what the collaborative is intending to do on a monthly basis and expanding on that instead of just 1 hour to do it in 8. And so, we had it at the Hotel Albuquerque downtown, and of course the food was fantastic. But like the real food was the conversation.
Yeah, of course. Well, and again, it's nice to do this work through technology and using it, but every now and then getting everyone together, see face to
Yeah.
face, and share those experiences. I imagine there were some crazy stories in there about.
Yes. Oh, yeah. A lot of passion. That was
Yeah.
something that we've all been talking a lot about. Was there sometimes at those events, it can feel like a little bit of like an afternoon lag or energy kind
Yeah.
of dip, and we didn't feel that once.
Yeah.
It was just everyone was so passionate and excited to be there. Again, we had 6 different presentations, or maybe 8, because we had like 4 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon. From, again, a variety of different organizations and specialties on education. We had an individual, conduct an indigenous healing ceremony, which was really beautiful, like a talking circle, share about the value of that. Mark was there, of course.
Yeah.
Just lots of fantastic topics covered, again, just to increase knowledge and awareness, but also to, I think, jumpstart some of the knowledge and things that like peers and individuals might forget the longer you stay in the community.
And are you aware of other programs like this in other parts of the country? Or, I mean, I feel you've done extensive work in New Mexico, and I'm just wondering if this is a model through ECHO that is sort of proliferated elsewhere.
Well, hopefully, yes.
Okay.
And yes, short answer, this is something we were intentional about making sure this stayed in New Mexico, and then hopefully intending to branch outwards. But we've seen a lot of success with going back to the NMPEP, the facility programs. In Indiana, they have a thriving program. In British Columbia, they have a thriving program. So we're slowly, inching our way out. But yeah, I mean, peer support it's all across the U.S.
Yeah,
and so we, doing our research preliminarily before we created the collaborative, we saw that there were some other programs. Florida, we had someone from the UK zoom in, someone from Texas, just to learn a little bit more about how we're doing ours and take back for their programs.
Well, yeah, I was aware, peer, but I really, again, I just felt like it was a great use of the Project ECHO model, and I thought maybe through ECHO there might be some similar programs popping up.
Yeah,
elsewhere.
yes, definitely.
Some, okay.
So we need more.
We need more.
Definitely. But yeah, and something too with the Leadership Summit, OPRI, HCA, they have a summit as well, and they're holding that one in the fall. And it's similar, but I would encourage for individuals who may be interested to do a little bit of research, because that'll be a really fantastic space as well.
Fabulous.
So, yeah. And one more thing about the summit. These were all of the individuals. This is a map of all of the individuals who attended all across New Mexico.
Wow.
So pretty good spread. Again, like not a lot in this area, so
Yeah.
got to increase outreach. But it's so.
Well, and I think Texas is supposed to annex that part of the state or something.
yeah.
And, okay, no, just won't happen.
Something like that. So yeah, still got to improve our efforts for that corner and our upper corner up in Raton and Clayton areas. But yeah, this was just really exciting to see.
Yeah, and I just like you were saying, I imagine a nice mix of people and modalities from all those different areas.
Yeah, definitely. So that is all for me. That is my information. If anyone on the call is interested, has questions, if you'd like to get in contact, if you have ideas for how to utilize peers or questions, can definitely feel free to reach out to me.
Fabulous. Well, we were almost, you filled up all of our time with that great presentation.
Is that okay?
Yeah. No, and I was noticing you talk very fast, but you're good at, getting through the information. So, any questions from anybody on the call? You can just, I'll stop sharing here, and you can just shout it out or put it in the chat. Any questions about peer support? I'll give a second. No, everyone seems to be pretty quiet.
Means I did my job, hopefully.
All right. Well, and again, like I said, I really felt that just it's one of those good examples of how, utilizing the ECHO model and sharing the information, it just seemed to be a very, well, and again, even as you were pointing out with the history and the fact that you had sort of this experience before with the early sort of formation of Project ECHO and its use to really hone this in to work for peer support, it just seems like it was a nice fit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just exciting to see the ECHO model working in this kind of context. And especially given the public safety ECHO, that's part of our intention, is to uplift community in meaningful ways, to strengthen the community, to make it a safer, healthier space with our peer supporters.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to find other ECHOs that I can sort of bring and introduce, just to sort of show how it works in some of these other modalities, and just that a lot of people are just using it to share information and talk about issues. So I just hope it keeps growing. Elliot gave you a thumbs up there. Great job. And it doesn't seem we have any questions, but I want to thank you very much. That was a wonderful presentation, and I guess I'll try to check out your actual public access show sometime as well.
Yeah, please do. It's the Creatives at the Creatives podcast.
That's right up my
Shameless
alley
plug.
as well. So
Awesome.
I'll definitely be checking that out. And thank everybody for dropping in today. My next session is I don't know if I have it scheduled yet, so I won't bother you with it, but thank you for joining us. Get out there and support your peers.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. We welcome your suggestions regarding any scenario involving future public safety echo sessions. For more information, visit www.cabq.gov/echo.